Hello guys and welcome to Noah's Paintball Mods. Today I'm gonna make the laser rifle from Fallout. Fallout is one of my favorite video game franchises of all time. As you can see by my shirt, you can ignore this part, and my repair bobblehead. I love the world, the story, the disturbing creatures, and of course, the weapons. And I think there's no more iconic weapon on the Fallout world than the laser rifle. And with that info out of the way, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a pattern for the laser rifle. So what I did here is trace a picture of the cover 1 into AutoCAD and scale it to size. Then I did the same thing to the laser rifle and scale it to the size of the cover 1 so it can fit inside. Now the only thing I have to do is print the drawing of the laser rifle and move to the build. For this build, I'm going to use my friend's cover 1 as the core of my laser rifle. The material I'm going to use mostly for this build is 1/8 styrene plastic. You can get this material mostly in hobby shops or in places where you can buy model cars or model trains. I got mine out of Amazon. I think that's easy. Because I have a normal printer at home, I have to print my pattern into different sections. I'm gonna start with the mid section of the laser rifle. Because this part of the laser rifle is the longest, I got this styrene plastic that is 1 feet by 2 feet. Now I'll trace the 4 sides into the styrene plastic. And I know I have 3 parts here, but top part is actually the bottom part too. I'm adding 1/2 inch to the front and the back part of all the sides. This is so I can glue better the front pieces and the back piece of the laser rifle. The trick to cutting styrene plastic is to score it with a X-Acto knife and using some pliers to break it out. Or in this case, using the edge of the table. Before I glue all these pieces together, I have to do a lot of cutting shenanigans on these pieces. But don't worry, I'll do one piece at a time so nobody get lost. Cool? Cool. I'm gonna start with the left side of the laser rifle. I'll cut out the hole of the release lever of the fusion cell, also the fusion cell and where the fusion cell rests. I'll punch some holes at the end of these 2 lines. And trace all the cuts to the styrene piece. To cut this hole, I'll just drill 2 holes into the styrene and using my Dremel and a cutting tool. I know it looks ugly and rough, but I'm going to clean it later. Now, really carefully, I'll cut where the fusion cell goes and clean everything. Now, using my cupping saw, I'm going to cut these 2 lines on the front. The reason for this cut is because the laser rifle has this part bent in. So I'm going to use my heat gun to hit this section of the styrene and bend it in with some pliers. I know it's not that much, but it's enough for the look. Now for the right side of the laser rifle. I'll repeat the same things I did to the left side. Now I'll cut this side into two parts. I'll explain why I'm doing this in a minute. Now for the top side. This side I'm going to cut it also in two parts. Never throw your material scrap until you're done with your project. Believe me, you might use it. Now for the bottom side. The only thing I'm cutting here is this big groove. This is so the cardboard one can go in the mud. And I know I'm using the wrong Dremel tool to cut this material, but this is the only one I have right now. And believe me, it gives a really bad odor, so safety first! Now that we have all our pieces cut and done, it's time to glue everything together. Using my leftover scrap, I'm going to cut some strips and glue them for extra support. I'll also glue some styrene supports to the bending sections. Now I'm going to explain why I cut the right side and the top side in two pieces. I'm going to do this build in two parts. A front part and a back part. Right now I'm gluing what will be the front part. The reason I'm making this in two parts is so I can put the cardboard one inside the laser rifle much easier. Now I'll start gluing what will be the back part. These pieces of styrene that I'm gluing, they will act like rails, so when I put these two parts together, they will be much easier. Now I'm going to show how I'm going to put the paintball gun inside the laser rifle. First you put it inside the front part, and then you're going to grab the back part and perfect. Now I'll do this mid section right here. For this part, I'm going to be using 1-inch thick MDF. You can get this at Home Depot, but only 1/2 inch, so you have to glue two pieces together. Lucky for me, I got this one at work. I'm gonna cut my paper pattern and tape it to the MDF. To cut the 1-inch MDF, I'm going to use a jigsaw. So because obviously the clear tape didn't hold, I have to trace that pattern again. Now I'll take my beautiful set of files and start carving the MDF to shape. And also my Dremel. All done. So the MDF piece is going to be glued to the back part of the laser rifle. While the glue is drying, I'm going to start on the fusion cell. For the fusion cell, I'm going to use a 2-inch PVC pipe that I cut to 3 3/8. Now I'm going to trace and cut to make space for the paintball gun. I'll trace the inside of the PVC pipe into a styrene piece so I can cut the caps. Once again, with epoxy glue, I'll glue both caps to the PVC pipe. I'll use my belt sander to sand a bevel to both sides of the PVC pipe. Using the pattern, I cut these 4 pieces that will be glued to the back part of the gun. Before gluing the other 2 sides, I'm going to make this part where the fusion cell connects. For this, I'm going to use 2-inch to 1.5 inch PVC reducing coupling. I'm going to trace the same cut I did to the PVC pipe to the reducing coupling. Now I'll trace the shape of the coupling to the top side and the left side. And I added another pair of rails. Time to do the back cap. I'll start by sanding an edge on all 4 sides. Next, I cut these 2 pieces that are 1 inch by 1 inch with a 1 inch hole in the middle. This is so the back part of the carbon can go inside. For the PVC coupling, I did the same thing I did with the PVC pipe. The only difference is the big cup goes on the inside and the small cup goes on the outside. These 2 triangles and rectangle will be the resting section of the fusion cell. I'm sanding a bevel on the rectangle because I have to glue it in an angle. And finally, I'll glue the PVC coupling to the rest of the belt by using the styrene glue and reinforcing it with the epoxy glue. Before I go any further, I'm going to sand around all the edges of the laser rifle. So this is the laser rifle so far. To be honest, I don't like this section over here that much because originally it has to go like a little angle, like in a cone. But I mean, it's the piece that I can get. But besides that, I think it's looking pretty good. I really like how it's going. So next we're going to move to the front part of the gun and this bottom section right here. So let's continue. Once more, I'm going to repeat all the previous steps of tracing, cutting, and gluing. And for the front cap, I repeat what I did to the back cap. I'm using the barrel of the gun as a guide so I can glue these 2 parts together. By using my heat gun and a wooden dowel, I'm going to bend this piece in half. I found out that it heats faster if I put foil paper on the bottom and put the heat gun really close to the styrene. Now I'm tracing where I'm supposed to add a bevel on this piece. To finish, I'm going to glue these two pieces together and glue it to the rest of the build. Let us not forget to add some support. Once again, I use the pattern to cut all the size of the wooden dowels. The thickness that I'm using is 7/8, 1 inch, and 1/2 inch. Using my belt sander, I'll sand all the details on the wooden dowels. By using a 1/2 inch force bit, I'm going to drill a hole through all the pieces. Now I'm going to use wood glue to glue all the pieces together. So I forgot to film this part, guys, but basically what I did, I took my coping saw and just cut some slots right here, and with my Dremel I just sanded the groove. Basically that groove is so it can rest right here on the air hose. To finish it, I'm going to use epoxy glue to glue it to the rest of the build. Now I'm going to do the grip. For this, I'm going to use this piece of wood that is 1 3/4 by 3/4. This groove that I'm cutting on the grip is for the lower rail on the covered one. Now that the glue is dry, I round the edges of the grip. Using my Dremel, I'm going to carve some trenches on the grip. Once again, I'm using epoxy glue to glue the grip to the rest of the build. And I'll finish by adding these decorative pieces made of styrene. Finally, we got to the last assembly piece, the stock. This part, I'm going to also make it out of 1 inch MDF. And here's when I realized that maybe it was a better idea to use 2 pieces of 1/2 inch because my jigsaw had a really hard time cutting 1 inch MDF. As you can see, it was burning the MDF. Now that I have my stock all cut out and cleaned up, I'm going to add the decorative details on the 3 circles. Finally, the full construction of the laser rifle is complete. But I still need to add some details and carving. I'm going to use my Dremel to carve all the decorative sections of the laser rifle. Next, I'm going to add all the decorative pieces. This piece is the release lever of the fusion cell. I'm going to glue this one to this rectangle that is going to be glued to the inside of the laser rifle. So you may be wondering how I'm going to attach the stock to the paintball marker, and the only way I was able to figure it out is with zip ties. I know it's not that elegant, but I mean, it holds it down pretty good. Zip ties never let you down. I'm gonna start the painting by applying a gray primer. I mask where the fusion cell is going to be glued. Now I'll apply the olive green. Then it was time for the silver. Mask where I'm going to glue the fusion cell and apply the primer and the black. For the grip, I painted a light brown. I didn't want to waste on yellow spray paint just for this little piece, so I'm painting it by hand with acrylic paint. Now that we have all our pieces painted, it's time to do some weathering. For those of you who doesn't know what weathering means, it's basically making something look more realistic by making it some dirty or rusted. You can see right now the laser rifle looks like a cheap toy, and we don't want that. We want it to look like it actually came out from the Fallout universe, so I'm going to add some rust and dirt and make it look like it's 200 years old. The basic technique of weathering is adding some water to the acrylic paint, then applying it to the whole surface of the build and wiping mostly off. I added a burnt look to the front of the rifle with some black paint. This so it can look like it's burned because of the laser. Now with some silver paint, I'm adding some scratches to all the surface. The reason I'm using a sponge instead of a brush is because I'm using the silver spray paint. I printed some custom stickers, and this is so I can add the last painting details to the laser rifle and a fusion cell. Obviously, because the sticker paper that I use is transparent, the plus sign that's supposed to be white doesn't work. So I'm going to apply it to a white vinyl so I can get the color. Now to wrap everything up, I'm going to glue the fusion cell, the release lever, and add the yellow wire. So yeah guys, this is my complete paintball laser rifle from Fallout. This ended up being a real wild ride, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it has so much detail, but at the end I think I got 90% correctly. I think it looks almost the same as the one in the game, and I know it's missing some details here and there, like right here in this front part. It's supposed to have like some screws on an angle, but the material's too thin. I couldn't do that. So at the end, the mod didn't add that much weight to the gun, so for me that's a big plus when it comes to playing. So yeah guys, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. That will help me a lot to bring these awesome paintball builds to you, and I see you next time when I take this gun to the field. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time on the next video. Bye.